the Bahamas tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Shashina Rowe Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. 5 weeks post Hurricane Dorian, and some businesses in the Grand Bahama community are still out of operation. Well, today the Grand Bahama Port Authority hosted a business meeting for its licensees to address our concerns and discuss the way forward as the island recovers, restores, and rebuilds. Jamila Mizik has our top story.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority hosting a business sector meeting for licensees to express exactly what they're experiencing in their businesses post-Hurricane Dorian. Chief Financial Officer and Licensing Chairperson Deanne Seymour says GBPA is conducting an ongoing survey asking questions regarding damage, insurance, and immediate business needs.
From that, we realized that the businesses have been really devastated, especially the business in our core, which would be downtown. We also realized too that businesses all the way from the airport road all up to Ponciana has been impacted by this storm. And so we wanted to hear the accounts of the businesses so that we can sort out how best we can assist the businesses.
She says one of the main concerns posed to GBPA by licensees is what are they going to do about license fees, that is, whether or not they're going to offer a license fee discount, and how are they going to replace inventory. Now, port licensees in attendance had the opportunity to express their concerns, and many of them say they really just want answers on what's the plan moving forward.
I came today, I think like a lot of other persons, really sort of to express what I would have experienced, but also to hear more of what my licensee is going to offer me.
We need money. We don't need. That's the only way we're going to get our business up and running. So we don't know what, we can't go to the banks for many of us. The banks are shut down for businesses from 2008.
Of course, I don't get a paycheck. I don't get a salary. I work on vehicles. If I work on them, I get paid. If I don't work on them, I go home with nothing. Well, this has been over a month now, and I go home with nothing. So I don't know, what's the next step.
These trains over here weekend and these trains over here ain't. So I figure, what could the Port Authority do, or at least the city manager or whoever, to let us know, well, all the trains in Freeport working so this type of flood don't happen again, which is what I think we should be focusing on, making sure this don't happen again.
This has been a downward spiral, and we haven't yet seen any kind of redress in this. And that's the frustration that retailers have, because like I said before, if he doesn't have business, I surely don't have business. And then I can't give him business.
It's about time we stop hearing all the rhetoric and talks. We need action.
Seymour says the plan moving forward is to complete the surveys, and once they've gotten some good empirical data, the Port Authority will then determine at that point what they would do in terms of funding, licensee waivers, etc.
We have actually touched about 1,000 licensees. The surveys, in terms of actual survey completion, is over 500. We've also visited licensees when they were not there. We've left stickers on their doors, and that was like at least about 400. So we found at least 40% of businesses closed when we went there. That doesn't mean that they're going to still remain closed, but they were closed at that time. So those persons still have an opportunity to pass us the information via telephone, WhatsApp. We have several numbers. We have 727-4422, 727-3600, and 801-9001. So any of those numbers you can send us your information on. And also we had launched a survey online as well that the licensees can complete.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
An official of Equinor's South Riding Point giving the latest on the massive cleanup exercise underway at the terminal in East End. Millions of gallons of oil spilled some several miles inland during Hurricane Dorian. It is a story that continues to attract national and international attention. The major oil spill is said to be the result of tornadic activity as Hurricane Dorian ripped the roofs off of 5 crude storage tanks at the South Riding Point Oil Storage and Transshipment Terminal last month. The company, which is owned by Equinor, has spearheaded an extensive cleanup initiative. Initial estimates pegging the volume of the oil spilled at the terminal to be around 119,000 barrels, or about 6% of the total amount stored. Country and asset manager for South Riding Point, Tanya Rigby Seymour, says 283 persons are on the ground working in the recovery process.
As we know now, as of October 9th, we have 119,000 barrels spilled. We've been able to quantify that. Prior to the storm, we had 1.8 million barrels spilled, so that represents probably about just about 6% of the amount that we had stored that was spilled. The majority of that volume is actually on the facility in our tank berms. Those are the pits that surround the tanks, and they're actually built for that purpose, to take overspill as secondary containment. And there is some at the north side of the facility in the forest area.
The administrative team is now working out of the Pelican Bay Hotel. She says there is also an international crew from 14 different countries who come with extensive experience in research and science. They are also assisting in the cleanup efforts. But for many Bahamians, one of the major concerns is the impact this oil spill can and could potentially have on the environment.
We are actively working to make sure that, first of all, that we prevent secondary contamination. So that's why we're trying to get as much oil up as possible, and then we're working on remediation plans in order to be able to follow up to see the extent of, or what actually is the latent effect of this spill, what happens later on. We have developed and put in for approval our groundwater monitoring plan with the government, so we can test the water and see how that has been affected. And then we also do the same thing for the forest area, just to remediate it. We don't want to go in and bulldoze anything. We want to take our time, use a light approach, because Mother Nature actually does good work. The Bahamian weather that we have, the sun, the rain, that actually helps to do a lot with the oil, and we do not want to cause more harm. So we're going to take into the area where we have these very sensitive ecosystems, where we'll take our time and we will make sure that we get it right.
Equinor has also come under fire, as many believe information has not been forthcoming.
We've really tried to not put out anything that's false information. So we really want to make sure we have facts before we start giving out information. I think that's really critical for us. So that's number one. As far as disappointment, I think we've been able to put out good releases on Equinor.com. Maybe I think we started to put a lot more out into the local media, so that we can update persons as frequently as possible. But we really do strive to be transparent. From day one, we've been open with the government. We've always given them our updates daily and let them know what we were doing, and we were managing that stakeholder of having the government involved and making sure they were in agreement with what we were doing.
Another question asked by concerned Bahamians is whether the oil traveled beyond land and made it to the sea.
That is correct. We've done extensive aerial surveys over the water around the island of Grand Bahama and Abaco, and we have not observed any oil in the water. We had some areas of interest that we looked into. We actually took a helicopter, hoisted people down, took samples of those. Those ended up being turtle grass, and so we're very confident that we do not have any leaks from our facility. It's us that you see the face of it, but with everything that we do, we have a second independent contractor that we lean on for their expertise to give us recommendations so that we can get it right.
Now, Equinor has hosted meetings and shared their current and long-term plans with the government, the opposition, the Bahamas National Trust, as well as other environmentalists. Officials say it is still unclear as to how long it will take to clean up this massive oil spill. In the meantime, traffic into and out of West Grand Bahama slowed to trickle again today, but this time due to work crews in the area. Heavy equipment moved in this morning while work crews placed additional boulders as a safety measure for motorists traveling on the fishing hole road that borders the Hawksbill Creek. Just yesterday, motorists expressed safety concerns and called for some immediate action. They were supported by Area Member of Parliament Bakisha Parker Edgecombe, who called for the safety issue to be given priority. Work on the thoroughfare that connects Freeport to West Grand Bahama is expected to continue tomorrow. The Grand Bahama Port Authority advising that they have completed the first round of debris removal in the following areas: Lucayne Beach West, Tarrytown, Windsor Park, Seahorse Village, Sunset Subdivision, Hawksbill, Regency Park 1 and 2, Coral Gardens, Coral Reef 1, 2, and 3, East Coral Estates, Pioneers Loop, and West Section, which is the back of town. Now, the date for the second round of debris collection will be announced at a later date. And we're switching gears now. A handing over ceremony held last night at Manor House at the Grand Lucayne property. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line shutting down its World Central Kitchen and handing over the duties to local churches.
World Central Kitchen, spearheaded by Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, has been working out of the Grand Lucayne, providing up to 20,000 hot meals daily to hurricane victims. Last night, RCCL held a closing ceremony for the feeding program. Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited Senior Vice President of Hotel Operations, Mark Tamis, thanking the Bahamas for allowing them to help. He says it was really about bringing love and hope to people.
There was never a question of what's that going to cost, or what's that going to cost, or what's that going to cost. It's like, no, what can we do? How fast can we do it? How big can we do it? And I am so proud to be part of Royal Caribbean, of company and a family that really believes and thinks like that first. It's about family, and this was a great opportunity for us all to come together. We were 105 strong. There were probably about 25 of us from the company, from the ships, and then the rest were the local population. And many of those people had lost a lot. But yet they were here every day with a smile and not only providing food, but bringing hope and love to the community.
President of the Grand Bahama Christian Council, Reverend Robert Lockhart, says during a difficult time for many, Royal Caribbean has truly been a blessing.
But after the hurricane was over, the next thing that was on people's minds were, what were we going to eat? Most all the stores were closed. Not one water depot was open. Not one bank was still functioning at that time. And Royal Caribbean, we thank you that you had us on your mind. I don't know who idea it was who said that we will take up the challenge of feeding 10 to 15 to 20,000 meals a day. But we want to say thank you, and we want to say may God bless you, and may he continue to cause your cruise line, your company, and your industry to flourish because of your blessing on us.
RCCL has also pledged $1 million to assist in the rebuilding of Grand Bahama. NEMA Grand Bahama Coordinator Senator Kay Forbes-Smith, speaking on behalf of Grand Bahamians, thanking RCCL for the 500,000 meals they provided while on the island, and also for assisting in the evacuation of 1,200 persons from Grand Bahama to New Providence, among many other generous contributions.
On top of that, they brought in thousands of pounds of goods and supplies, including more than 150,000 bottles of water, personal hygiene supplies, medical supplies, and first aid kits, and so much more. If that was not enough, the organization is going to help Bahamians on this island with an ongoing feeding program at churches, at home, away from home, from the Grand Bahama Home for the Aged, to ensure our communities stand on their own and keep the food distribution going beyond their departure. Royal CCL has pledged $100,000 in kitchen and food preparation, equipment, and a cash donation as well. And I believe that is still the case, $2,500 to each of the churches.
Now, churches and other organizations have been selected to continue RCCL's role. Senator Forbes-Smith says those entities were selected because they have an ongoing feeding program and are also located in areas that were heavily affected by Dorian. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
In other news, Grand Bahama's only major library facility trying to bounce back after sustaining extensive damage during the recent storm. As Jay Philippe tells us, full recovery could take several weeks. Here's that report.
The Sir Charles Hayward Library, located in the downtown area of Freeport, also suffered tremendous destruction due to Hurricane Dorian.
We had to get some cleaning done by Town and Country because water had settled in both libraries about 2 to 3 inches. Thankfully, the books were not disturbed, but of course because of the settling of water, then the sheetrock has to be removed, the tiles have to come up. And so when the adjusters came through the week following the hurricane, that was the thing number one that they said.
Rutherford says they are presently in the process of dismantling the children's library, moving the books from the adult section to the children's section. Rutherford says it could be quite some time before the library is fully functional.
It literally depends on the speed with which the contractor can get things done. But his point to me was, we need to move everything because the tiling has to be done in a certain way. You can't have things blocking their work. So it literally, and I must give it to G&T Construction. Since they came in, they have been working, from 7 a.m. or thereabouts until late in the afternoon, trying to get what you see done completed. Because this is literally a week and a couple of days' work.
Librarian Shenrika Forston says members of staff at the library have been working around the clock since September 30th to bring the library up to par.
What we're in the process now is going book by book, shelf by shelf, cleaning the books or discarding the ones that got wet and have mildew, and trying to get everything back in order so that we can have some normalcy to the best of our ability.
And after phase 1 of shuffling is completed, Forston says the focus will shift toward the adult section of the library.
Actually, it's going to be a little more tedious because we have to put the children's books back in the children's section, then move the adult books back. We'll take them down and move them into the children's section. And we have twice as many books in the adult section as we do in the children's section. So, and then we have to clean out the reference area on both sides. We have to clean out our break/workroom. My office was flooded, so that has to be gutted. And then we have a couple additional rooms in the back that we have to do the same process. So when we'll be fully operational, we're not certain at this point.
The library has also partnered with the Rand Memorial Hospital, where they have been using one of the library rooms to conduct physiotherapy. Operating hours for patients are from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Therapists are asking that patients bring their referral forms in order to receive immediate care.
At present, we're seeing outpatients, and we're seeing patients over to the Samaritan Purse Hospital as well. We're seeing the inpatients over there. Right now, we're only able to accommodate patients in small numbers. We're trying to see as many new patients as we can, and we're trying to accommodate them as best we can.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Well, it would appear that every sector of society was touched in some way by Hurricane Dorian. A senior citizen's home in Caravel Beach that serves as a safe haven for other displaced persons was impacted as well. Jamila Mizik has this story.
Since the passing of Hurricane Dorian, the home away from home located in Caravel Beach is now the residence for some displaced persons. Now, before the storm, the occupancy was about some 30 persons, and now that number has climbed to 75 plus. Home Away from Home has been in the Grands Bahama community for the past 9 years, and owner Murphy Knoll says the home for the elderly, men, women, and children is growing. She says the organization has recently been blessed with a 4th building that they will utilize to house more displaced persons, but she admits there are some challenges.
At this present time, it's keeping the food going because, the bills now increase a little bit more. And actually, I've been putting out a plea for beds. We do need beds desperately. And we up to now, with all the persons that you hear me call, we need beds for every one of them. We up to 70-something beds. The reason why for that, because there's a lot of beds that I had that needed to be changed from that time, and I've been asking for beds and so on like that. And now it really is a need.
She says the homes also received some roof damage.
the roof needs to be fixed, you know, and where if the water came down in it, you know, it messed up some of the sheetrock, which we managed to get rid of, but we really could use some help in that area with the roof. That, you know, we got, and it hit all 3 of the homes. Matter of fact, all 4, because the second one we got, the 4th one we got a little roof damage too.
Now, the privately owned home has 6 employees and is a 24/7 operation. Noel says she hopes that more persons would feel the urge to assist now that they are taking in more persons, and most of the residents do not have funds and are living off of charity.
You know what I always tell people, you know, money has always been a problem when it comes to institutions like this, because people think you have money, taking the money for yourself. So I always tell people, come see it for yourself. And whatever the need is, purchase it yourself or do a gift card or whatever. You can send me there and say, Ms. Knowles, pick out what you want and allow me to bring the invoice to you. And you can send the check to the people, to the company that work, you know, for me to purchase the stuff, because, you know, money has always been an issue with the institution because of what other persons did. It make it bad for persons who genuine coming along and wants to do the work.
She's thanking entities like Royal Caribbean Cruise Line for their donations and all others who have generously donated to the home. Now, if you wish to donate to the home, you can contact 602-3700, 602-4533, 533-5050, or visit the home on Amberjack Drive. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us, there's more news on the other side of the break.